Are live. I'm supposed to be playing my little intro music, and I forgot to even pull it up, so my bad.
I'm gonna have
Um,
to start reminding you because we almost did that last time too.
I know. Okay, I'm ready though, guys. We're live, but here go the music. All right, welcome to In the
Today,
Know with Cat Bobineau. Today, our guest right here is waiting in the lobby. I see you. I'm about to add you, but first, let me say hey to my co-host. Hey, Dr. Tay, welcome.
hey everybody, welcome back to the show.
Absolutely. And we're going to be talking about programs and people that you should know. And so
Yes.
let me go on and add our first guest who has joined us. He is known as the Hip Hop MD. Welcome to the show.
What's up? How's it going?
Hey, hey, we haven't
It's
talked in so
going.
long. It's so good to see you again.
I know it's been a hot minute for sure, but it's good to be back in your presence again.
Likewise, we've seen what you've been doing out there, so this is definitely a great opportunity to kind of catch up and
Yeah.
see what programs and advocacy you can offer to some of the youth out there right now.
Yes, absolutely. No, thank you for having me. I think this is a great platform to be able to share this amazingness. Hey, what's up? How's it going, buddy?
You say hi.
I should bring my
Hey
own little
guys,
one. I should bring my own little one on camera here.
You
you
can, you
should.
know. I thought I had him situated with Baby Shark, but no. He wanted to join in.
Baby Shark can keep them entertained for a certain amount of time, but after a while,
Exactly.
So Maynard,
However, go ahead, Dr. Tay.
tell us. So for those who don't know already, tell us a little bit about your STEM background, so we can, just in case anybody's interested in how you started off and what your foundation was.
Yes, absolutely. So my background is actually in civil environmental engineering. I got my degree from the University of Washington in Seattle, and I worked there as an engineer for a number of years with a big engineering firm called Turner Construction, doing a lot of heavy infrastructure projects. And but I'd always had a big passion in entertainment, so entertainment was always a big thing of mine. So I was working as a music artist, and I was also doing a lot of acting projects as well too. But I never really had an outlet to be able to do my creative side. And so that's kind of what stimulated a lot of my transition from engineering to a little bit of what I'm doing now. I made a complete 180 and I moved down to Los Angeles to pursue entertainment work. And kind of in a roundabout, completely non traditional platform way, I came about with the hip hop science platform, which really started out as a sketch comedy idea. And it snowballed into this educational platform that it is now, where I use music, entertainment, and comedy to help educate on a wide variety of scientific topics. And for me, it was really the perfect merger of all of my passions, my love for science, my love for entertainment, my love for music. I was able to mold them all into one to be able to provide benefits for people of color that look like me, that came from different platforms, that came from different places where they didn't really feel ingratiated within the STEM fields, and also as a way to be able to educate in a new, inspiring way, in a way that I honestly felt that I should have been taught a lot of these STEM lessons growing up.
Mm.
And so I try to make STEM topics in a more relatable and connective fashion, where people from diverse backgrounds, people that may not traditionally be involved in the STEM fields, can now have a new appreciation and spark some curiosity as well.
And I can attest that it works for me. So there are times where I'm looking at your Instagram or something, and I'll see like you. I forgot what you were talking about one time, and then you related it to Rick Ross, right?
Yeah.
Like, so for anybody that's a Rick Ross fan, it made it like more relatable on a different term. It may have just been like a funny
Hmm.
comedy aspect, but I definitely was paying attention to it then. So
Hmm.
I really love that. And then there was another time you were walking on a beach or something, you found some type of sea creature, and
Yeah.
you were pointing it out and really telling us about it. And I was like, this is so cool. Like I didn't have to be there, but I felt like the interest in it, like
Yeah.
just from seeing it through your story.
Yeah. And it's like, and sometimes the hip hop science term can fool people because it's not all about, like, obviously one thing I don't do on my platform is I don't like rap hip hop or rap science songs. That's not really what I do. The purpose of it is to provide a connection, is to be able to make things more relatable. And so I connect
Right.
science topics to everything outside, not just music, to entertainment, to arts, to things that are happening in pop culture. I make a lot of references to where now you can be able to have an appreciation and an understanding from a level that you may not either. And I always get excited and I nerd out about science topics every single day anyway. And so for me to be able to share it through social media and to be able to kind of bring my love and my energy to kind of different audiences that may never see science topics talked about in that type of fashion, for me, that's where the love of it lies, because I'm able to now spark a newfound curiosity and be able to bring excitement to these STEM topics.
Love that. I love
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
That is so dope. And I mean, I've been following you for a while, seeing all the stuff that you do, especially, getting out there as a science communicator.
Mhm.
And partially I'm jealous. And partially I'm so proud, like, of
Mhm.
all the stuff that you're able to do, bringing STEM to the forefront.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right.
Thank
So
you.
with that being said, I'm looking at your webpage. That's why I'm looking to the side. I always pull up people's webpage so I can show it.
Mhm.
But like all the things that you've been able to do, tell me what is like one of the things that you're super proud about or happy
Mm.
about, that or an experience you had that's just like sets above the rest.
Yeah, I would say one of the it kind of ties into a lot of my non-traditional journey. So when I originally went to college, I wanted to study wildlife science. I actually wanted to be a wildlife biologist, and
Okay.
I ended up going into engineering because really I got talked out of wildlife biology. All my peers and even teachers, educators were like, "There's no money in wildlife science. You're going to sit up in trees
Mm.
and look at animals all day." And I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do." And so engineering, everybody said, go into engineering. That's where the money's at. That's where you're going to have the job opportunities, which was, partly right, but it deviated from what my true passion was, what I really loved doing. And even though I loved engineering and I got into it, it still kept me within the science fields. It still was a deviation for what I originally wanted to do. And so kind of full circle, one of the things I love about my platform now is I naturally talk a lot about biology and a lot of wildlife topics because I just kind of have a foundational interest and love for it. And one of the things I absolutely love is the ocean and marine biology. And I've had a chance to spend 2 different trips on 2 different expeditions on board the EV Nautilus, which is this huge exploration vessel that does scientific research all across the globe. I spent a month out at sea about 2 years ago, and I recently just came back from a 10-day expedition about a month and a half ago, doing really heavy marine biology work, engineering work, setting up seismic detection systems, discovering new species in some of the deepest unknown parts of the ocean, doing research on hydrothermal vents, all sorts of amazing things.
Mm.
And on top of that, being able to communicate the research that we're doing on the ship to audiences all across the globe, because they have a huge YouTube channel. And we're able to share all these amazing discoveries with people all across the world. And that's been by far one of my most pleasurable and just really out of this world experiences that I've been able to have, because it was really like me watching National Geographic growing up, right? I got a chance to be able to
Right.
work hands-on with people that are doing really unique research that was having an impact and changing the world. And so for me, by far, that was one of my greatest experiences for sure.
And I love that you mentioned that, because a lot of times when we think about, even earlier on, when we think about what we want to do in life, we
Yeah.
only pick like that one or two things, right?
Yes.
And we're sometimes it's because of the money or whatever other motivation, whether it's just happiness or happiness and money, or how it makes you feel or who you want to impact or so on. So it's great to hear. Like, I think we forget about this all the time.
Yeah.
For me, and I'm pretty sure I could say for Kat as well, even just having this podcast and being able to provide a platform for people like yourself to talk about what you do, this
Hmm.
is our way of mentoring. This is our way of advocating. This is our way of teaching and educating and
Hmm.
of providing awareness for resources, for mentors, and for whatever else. And even just the STEM journey, teaching
Yeah.
people about the STEM journey and various STEM journeys that you could really take to kind of fulfill or provide you with the success that you're looking for.
Hmm.
But we didn't think about this. I know I didn't think about it when I wanted to look into a neuroscience
Yeah.
STEM journey, right? And I'm
Mhm.
sure, Kat, you probably weren't thinking, okay, one day I'm going to be advocating for STEM careers and teaching it in this way when you were going your path. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing to touch on.
Absolutely. And look at you. You're immortalized in a statue forever. You know what I'm saying? And like you probably never imagined that when you're on your STEM journey as well too, to be able to now be a presence and an example for all sorts of women all across the world to be immortalized and showcase the work that you do that's had an amazing impact. So yeah,
Right.
this it's truly a journey when we talk about STEM and our Pats getting to these positions that we're in, especially as people of color, because there are not many of us and we go through so many
Right.
challenges to be able to get here. And so to have the success that we have now and to be able to have the voice that we have now to be able to share our stories with so many people, it's absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and so we are our other guest has joined, so I'm gonna add her and add them in just a minute. But I also wanted to just say that after this podcast, you're gonna have to be my new best friend because everything you just said was like a realm of my life, which I love animals.
Hmm.
The cheetah is my favorite. I thought one day I would be studying the cheetah. My
Oh,
second
Mhm.
is the blue whale. So I
ooh,
love marine biology and
nice.
ocean and all that stuff. And I know the RV Nautilus. I haven't been on it. I've
Hmm.
been on the RV Sequoia
Okay.
and another boat. So I mean, everything you just said, I was like, dang, okay, that's my spirit animal. We're gonna have to really discuss this, right?
Yes.
But
Right.
we ain't gonna do it with everybody. But let me go ahead and add our other guest who has joined Fallon. And we're gonna add them on now. And welcome to the show.
Hey everyone, how are you?
Hello,
Good.
hello. How's
Good.
it
Good.
going?
It's going good.
And I do want to remind everybody we are live on Facebook and YouTube. I do see two people who said hi in the chats. Hey, Courtney. Hey, Alon. Thank you for joining us. If you have questions, comments, make sure you put them in the chat so that we can see it, answer it, or discuss it. But in the meantime and in between time, thank you, Fallon, for joining us. And can you tell us a little bit about you and your program?
Yeah.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Fallon Davis, pronouns they, them. I am the CEO and founder of Steam Urban. Steam Urban is a trauma informed STEAM discipline education nonprofit for Black and Brown students of all ages. We launched in March of 2020 in Newark, New Jersey. And our focus areas are environmental justice, educational equity, and social justice. So we develop programs based on, the needs of the community, what the schools or our partnering organizations are looking for, that kind of go with our mission in changing education and kind of going through these different disparities that we're dealing with as Black and Brown people, and how we can find the resources and the resolve for our futures. So, we do this by activating parks and green spaces. We are doing after school programs, elective programs. We have a summer camp. And so we're just continuously building our curriculum and building our partnerships so we can continue to expand these programs.
I love that. First of all, this is the thing that I always like talking to Fallon about. So, so when I talk to Fallon or when I see anything that you highlight, you and your group, because I know you have a team usually. Just the difference between equity, equality, and justice for STEM access and STEM education. And one thing, so I met Fallon because Fallon, Steam Urban was doing a radical educator program. And I just love the title radical educator, right? And I didn't realize that's exactly what I was doing until you all introduced it. So can you tell us more about like what is a radical educator to Steam Urban and what were your mind thoughts were when you came up with a program such as that to highlight radical
Yeah.
education?
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Because you are part of our foundational radical educator. You're someone who definitely represents what we believe in. But we believe that radical educators are your organizers, your abolitionists, your community leaders, your mentors that have and understand the disparities that we're facing and want to get to the root cause of the issue. What is our root cause? We talk about environmental justice, but what is the root of why that's affecting our Black communities, and how do the work of these educators, collaboratively work with our programs and help to change these problems, these challenges that we're facing as a community. Because educators honestly are the leading force of where we're going to be able to grow and glow to change our communities. It's the folks who might have gotten pushed out of being a teacher, might feel as a teaching artist that they're not respected and they're not valued. They're not being advocated for when it comes to pay, when it comes to having a voice and a choice. So we are collaboratively working together as these loud vocal people about our struggles and the things that we've gone through, and want to take that knowledge that we've gained and our mentorship and really spread it out. And we do it with love, and that's really what it means to be radical. It's really finding a resolution to our root problems, not just continuing to go along with things, and turn a blind eye to it.
Wow, that is so amazing, and thank you both actually for being on the show today and wanting to share what you guys are doing. I wanted to jump to the programs that you have and the age range that you're working with. So, can you explain to the audience like what it is your programs are
Yeah.
and what it is you're trying to accomplish or share with these programs?
Yeah. So it's funny. I was just writing a grant about what programs we offer. So currently, we're at about 50 programs a month, and they look different for every partner. So, in overview, we have 6 topics that we highlight. So, it's the power of Black scientists, um, learning about the contribution, past and current and future, of what Black scientists can be. And that usually engages a hands on STEAM but science based project. We have our Keep Art Alive program, which allows students to work with teaching artists of all mediums and learn and get to engage in all elements of art, really related to our culture though. So African drumming and beat making, mask making, upcycling, and sustainable fashion. We have our Bon Appetit program, which is our farm to table culinary program. And we also, with that program, depending on what the school has, we build gardens outdoors and indoors using either hydroponic technology we're going into now. We also have our Making Sense of the World program, which is geared towards using your 5 senses to see the world. And we bring in the impact of the Harlem Renaissance and how that era changed our culture forever, and how we can learn about that impact through our senses. And we have our superheroes program, which we believe that everyone is their own superhero. And when you find the self confidence and the power within yourself, that's how you're able to change the world. And so through those programs, it can be after school based. These interactive workshops can be electives, they can be residencies, they can be even, our one-off STEAM pop-up programs where we're working with like Halsey Festival or Nork Arts Festival or these big community festivals, and activating our youth programming segments so that when the adults have stuff to do, the kids and the young folks have stuff to do, and that they can intergenerationally do them together. We do professional and personal development. So we have I Am Mentorship program where we really work on, if there's any um, trauma and related things going on, which is a lot, but more in schools where they're looking for maybe like the social workers have a group of students who need a healing program or need mentorship, or need to see people that look like them. So we kind of come in and we help kind of navigate these emotions and these big issues that they're going through, and how do we take that and journal it, or we use art to kind of express ourselves in different ways. And we also do professional development for educators, so we can go in schools and STEAMify your schools, where I'm the STEAM coordinator, and we're helping integrate your curriculum, and working with your leadership team to help them understand how STEAM can run or look like, or how to even add hands-on activities into their programs. And then with our radical educators, all of our programs are led by radical educators, and they can be any age, as long as they have a passion for wanting to try something new. And so they, like with our summer program, we have teenagers who need that support and mentorship. So they're co-facilitators, and they're learning these how to, leadership skills. But then it could be your master educators who need more support in how to expand their programming and curriculum, or how to get more partnerships, or just even how to refresh some of the work that they've been doing, and make it more engaging or current with the times. And all of these programs continuously keep developing. Education is a forever growing and changing experience, and we just want to make sure that we're flexible enough and we are viable enough that we are a resource. So in March, we just got a community garden, and through there, we are growing food, teaching folks how to farm, how to get back to the land, and using that space to do some of this green work, soil testing, water testing, and really creating something in the community that is for us all, and trying to listen to the voice of the community to do those things. So that's in summary of the programs. I know it's a lot.
That's well, it's all needed, right? And what I like about both of you and the programs that you provide to your communities and all the nation, to be honest, like the world, anybody that can see you on social media, you do it in a way where it's very intentional, and you're making sure that hopefully it addresses everybody's learning ability, right? Like I found a lot of times I see like your social media with the hands-on activities, and like the kids are literally putting their hands on something. There was something where you had a DJ come on, and we did yoga one time, right? Like you had a variety of different radical educators come and be in front of your audience. And then hip hop MD, come on, like utilizing all the aspects of hip hop, whether it's dance, music lyrics, or whatever, just having famous people attached to STEM in some way or another just already gets piques an interest that we kind of talked about earlier. So I guess my question to both of you, to kind of tie both of you back into the conversation, would be, how do you find these ways to keep your audience, which your audience base, your students, or even I know like both of you have been on panels and stuff. I saw some of your newer stuff, Fallon, where you were giving panel discussions and stuff too. How do you keep people interested in wanting to explore STEM? Like, what makes you say, okay, this is the way that I want to hopefully pique their interest today? I guess we'll start with Maynard since we just had ended off with Fallon.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think for me, it starts foundationally with a little bit of what I talked about earlier, of looking back at my kind of upbringing and how I was educated, and seeing a lot of the pitfalls and downfalls with education and kind of with the education system, right? And things that led me out of it, or persuaded me out of different areas of the field as well too. I want to be able to try to change that dynamic. And I think for me, having this like science communication community that we're all a part of has been really eye-opening one for me, because I remember when I started the hip hop science platform, I kind of felt like I was by myself, right? I didn't really see other people that looked like me doing that work. And as I got ingratiated more and more into community and started seeing so many other voices out there sharing their experiences and sharing the challenges that they've gone through, that was really eye-opening for me, because I started to see that I wasn't alone in my own experiences and in the own way that I felt, especially working in engineering and working in the industry, working in the field, and seeing a lot of those either racial tensions or discrimination or different downfalls within our education system. And so, one of my focuses that I always try to implement in the work that I do is kind of seeing exactly what a youth needs, right? And for me, it makes it lends it a little bit easier because the entertainment side is always a thing that's there, right? Whether it's entertainment, whether it's sports, those are all dynamics that we all connect with anyway on a regular basis. And so the fusion of that is seamlessly into a lot of educational topics. For me, it lends itself now to how do we spark curiosity? How do we get students involved in a way that they would never be involved in before? And how do we start to find ways that they can make a connection to topics that they probably didn't think were suited for them or didn't see people that look like them? And so one of the many ways is highlighting representation, and I'm sure Fallon can talk on that as well too, of showcasing our voices, showcasing us, being able to have students look at us and show our examples of going through this non-traditional journey. I always love being able to share my work in music and working in the music industry and working in entertainment because I'm able to show that there's not just one path to success. There's not just one trajectory to get into the science fields. That you can have so many different diverse backgrounds. You can have interests in sports and dance and fashion and all these different things and still be a scientist, still be smart, still be educated. And I think we bring a lot of those different things to the table. And so I love being able to share other people's experiences, loving to share other backgrounds that people have gone through and different interests that they have, because all of those are really, really fundamental and great for students to be able to see and just change their overall perspective of what they can be.
And I love that. And I mean, that's part of the reason this podcast was even started is to share these stories, these job titles that you didn't know existed,
Mhm.
as well as programs that, hold on, baby, programs that and people that you didn't know was around. I'm sorry, I have a demanding 2-year old right now. Okay. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Hey Dr. Tay while I handle
No
this
problem.
very.
So Fallon, for you, like how does your group and even yourself, how do you all think of like continuously piquing the interest from your students?
Yeah, Maynard, great overview. I mean, I relate completely to the lack thereof and what I didn't get. And that's what fueled my work and seeing, the people around me and the students kind of not being able to express themselves and their voice, and also being a queer non-binary person and the silencing that went into a lot of my childhood and my identity. It really was important for me that I understood who I was and I wasn't afraid to be who I was. And I'm able to show that and be that representation for the students, the educators, the partners that we work with. You don't ever know that this is where your journey is going to be. You don't know that you're going to be someone who people look up to. When you're just being yourself and you're authentic to who you are, you get placed in this role and then you have a responsibility. And I think that it's one of the most rewarding, the hardest work that I've ever done is to be a community leader, is to be a radical educator. And I allow the community and the students and the people that I work with to ask me and tell me what they want. And so we are always challenged with something new because people are asking us to develop something new. Depending on what their needs are, or what they have seen us do before, they're like, we want to try that, but we want to try it in a different way. And so every program literally has a different audience and has a different group of students. It has a different school value. It has a different community value. And so what we try to do is be open, and we try to ask questions of, is this working? What do you think about this? For parents, when they're doing our summer camp or after school, is the time work? What would be more supportive for you? And even the educators, is this approach working? How can we be better in providing your needs? How do we need new policies that we need to address, like gender equity or, accessibility. How are we making sure that, we're meeting these needs? Like Newark was claimed, it's been probably forever, but a food desert. So within a food desert, as community leaders, what does that mean? We need to all figure out how to get food to ourselves, the community. So that's where the community garden came from, and so I think that being flexible, being open, and knowing that this is that I am the vessel that spirit gave this vision to. I'm not the only voice in this, and that I just happen to be good at the organizational part. That's my skill. But finding a space where everyone can fit into this community model has been extremely important, because sustainability is key. A lot of people, have continuously come into Black communities telling them what they need, how they need to do it, not asking them what they want. And so we don't want to be that. And that's what continues to fuel us and to, give us a good place in our community, is that we are for the community.
I love that. I think a lot of times people forget to survey the individuals they're trying to make an impact on. And I know all of us naturally do it because one, like you said, both of you said it in a lot of different ways. At the end of the day, we're servicing others, right? Because of a gap that was not filled for us. So we're filling the gap as a result, right? And the other thing that I love about it is it's very empowering what both of you are doing. And I already sit in my own understanding of things that I'm empowering people with. And I know Kat does the same. But with both of you, you're essentially saying, hey, come as you are and be okay with doing that and feel empowered by doing that, as well as doing it within STEM, right? And while exploring STEM, whether it's career, the excitement of STEM, or whatever else. And I think that's the biggest thing that I take away from all of this. In a world where a lot of people are not accepted, you're basically saying, hey, because I've been in a lab where I said, hey, can I put some music on? And they were like, as long as you don't play that rap music, right? So hip hop, and I know a lot of people may take it as this is just a trendy thing, but it is a cultural thing that is not accepted in many different places. So, and I was in one of those places where it wasn't accepted. So I don't take that lightly, right? At all. So for you to say, hey, you can come with Dr. Jones, you can come as you are, and you can enjoy STEM and enjoy hip hop at the same time. I love that, right? Like I love that in any of these spaces, any of these spaces, it is safe to be myself and explore STEM. And I'm pretty sure that it's resonating for others in the same way. So I think I definitely thank both of you for that. Kat, is there anything that you wanted to hear about for both of their programs?
Well, I have both of your websites up,
Yeah.
and I can share them at any time, and we can talk about what you have on there. I did want to ask Maynard, we're talking about programs. Do you have programs as well, or is it mostly the science communication aspect of what you're doing?
Yeah. I don't consider them programs in a sense, because in a weird kind of way I am the program in in some senses. But I consider it more of outreach work, right? That I'm able to do when I'm partnering with different organizations, and it varies depending on the needs, right? So I do a lot of presentations where schools will bring me out to do keynote presentations where I talk about much of what we're talking about right now, my non-traditional path into STEM. It may be for K through 12, and maybe for college students, and maybe for young working professionals, and maybe for educators, where I talk a lot about my journey, the importance of diversity in STEM, and kind of spark excitement and kind of showcase different paths and different alternatives for people that may not felt that the STEM fields were for them. I do a lot of work for educators, and we're all educators in a sense here, right, of the work that we do. But especially STEM topics and STEM outreach is huge now, and we're all in a lot of schools, a lot of different organizations are trying to find ways to integrate more STEM into their programming. And so I show a lot of different unique ways to be able to do that, and I'm sure Fallon, that's You mentioned you do that as well too with your work of STEAM integration. So I do a lot of that as well too, of showcasing to educators how they can connect with students, how they can bring unique topics to utilize different things like social media and entertainment and other different things to be able to find a connection for students. And then the other side of it is a lot of the creative, I would say more of the media type work that I do, which I believe has also been really valuable for a lot of different organizations. So like recently I was in Chicago working with the Kids Museum, and they brought me out there because they wanted to be able to find a way to be able to connect educators in the local area, because they're in Springfield, Illinois. So they would get a lot of people from Springfield and Chicago out there. They wanted to be able to find a way to showcase to educators that their museum is more than just a playground, right? That they can actually be able to turn these into unique learning lessons and curriculum lessons for schools. And so I did a whole video package of showcasing how they can be able to utilize the museum in interesting ways and kind of out the box, unique ways that they can implement learning lessons from these activities that they perform at the museum. And so I've done a lot of work like that for museums and other similar platforms. And for me, that type of programming is amazing because now it can get the wheels spinning into unique kind of non-traditional methods of education and learning. And then to be able to implement myself there as obviously someone from a diverse background, to be able to now spark that interest and excitement into the students that may be utilizing that platform as well too. So that's kind of the wide variety of different programming, I guess, that I would call it, that I use, but it's more so of a service of my outreach work that I do with my hip hop science platform.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. And I
I
would be
love that.
re-
And I love all the things that you have. Like I was looking at your blog and everything, and I'll share this in a second. You can point us in the right direction of where to go on your website to get more information about who you are, what you do, and how to get in touch with you. I want to make sure that, I mean, I'll say it out loud for the people who will listen to this later and not watch it, but yeah, definitely want to highlight some of the things that you guys are doing on your website. But before I do that, is there anything you guys wanted to add before I start showing off what you guys are doing?
Says a lot on there.
All right. Well, then, how about we start with hip hop science?
I'm gonna have Maynard come up to North.
Yeah, I would love it.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
you got to come to North. I love your work.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, here we got your hip hop science. Is there anything you would like me to highlight or how someone can get in touch with you or learn more about you?
Yeah, I have a tab on my site that's collaborations tab, which I reference a lot of people to, that shows kind of the obviously different ways that we can collaborate and to be able to connect. And so some of them were what I mentioned earlier, as far as doing a lot of media work, but it also branches out into a lot of areas. I do a lot of creative content for different brands and organizations. I host events, and so a lot of different STEM organizations that may be doing STEM workshops or may have a symposium or something similar. I host a lot of events, and so different organizations bring me out for kind of hosting work. So kind of really the full spectrum of everything that you would see there, of science communication from a broad sense of communicating unique topics to diverse audiences and audiences in general, to capturing content at events, and to be able to do a lot of social media packaging work as well too. So the collaborations page is definitely a great one to be able to see examples of some of the different things that I've done, and also new unique methods of ways that you can collaborate and bring unique STEM education to your organization or your platform.
Well, that's dope. So, for those who's going to be listening to this later, that is hiphopscienceshow.com, that you can go and look at his webpage and then go to that collaboration tab to see how you can work with the Hip Hop MD. Me, I'm gonna have to talk about creative content. I got all the ideas, but I am not a creative in any form or fashion outside of this podcast. And so I be like, oh, I can do this, but the creativity side is, I need help. So let us go on to Steam Urban. You want to tell us about your page?
Yeah, so we're really excited about this website. It's our second upgrade from our first website. So we were excited about the live pictures. So all the pages give you, we do a lot of documentation because if you don't document it, you haven't done it. And
Mhm.
so we love that we have so much content that people can explore the diversity of our programs just through the pictures alone. But each segment allows you to either get testimonials from our supporters. On this homepage, you can see our partners, some of them at the bottom. And then we kind of kept it very clear on, what's going on. So we have our subjects, we have our programs broken out, and then we have how you can contact us and work with us because there's volunteer opportunities, there's employment opportunities, and then there's partnership opportunities. I will also highlight that we are a Webby nominated PBS production. That NJPBS spotlighted myself as a change maker, but also the work of Steam Urban, and what we're doing in the community. And that's a great 8 minute just showcase of the work, how it integrates in community. And we're just excited that this is, getting the attention and getting the word out around about the work that we're doing. I also was awarded a Education Leadership Award this year through the YWCA. So those mentions, we were able to have our work spotlighted. And so, we're open. We are always looking for new partnerships. We're always looking for new educators to join. And, that's us in a nutshell.
Awesome.
Love it.
Thank you, both of you. And so I want to add that, as you've seen, I have a toddler. And so my focus has really changed
They're the best.
to what I can do with my toddler as far as STEM is concerned. So I
Mhm.
have a question for both of you is what ideas or thoughts would you share with parents with young kids
Mm.
on getting them interested in STEM or STEAM, and what hands-on project would you suggest parents do with very young children?
Mm, nice. Fallon, you want to go first?
Sure. I can go. So I love that you asked that because one of the reasons why I do programming for all ages is because there are a lot of young children. There are a lot of toddlers and our babies who need support at their most foundational ages. And they usually miss out, and especially for Black and Brown students, preschool or that learning through preschool, which is why like kind of your starts were developed, is essential. So we had 3.5-year old at our summer camp. So as long as they can, it's harder when they, using the bathroom and changing them, but when they're able, but what we do say is that we include them in everything. We don't limit their capabilities. We just make sure that everyone is able to digest our information. So if they ask, what do you mean? We explain it. When we did our Be a Change Maker program in Montclair, we had kindergarten all the way through fifth grade integrated, and they were learning about race, racism, segregation, social justice issues. And so, what I would say is for parents, don't be afraid to expose your students and your children to the world. Let them know what's going on. Let them understand their history and their culture and why things are shaped this way. And show them people that look like them in these different fields. And always expose them to hands-on activities. I have a couple. One of the our fun favorite activities is an edible Jello slime. So it uses the sugar free, because that's the least sticky, sugar free Jello, and instead of using like a borax, you use the sugar free Jello with water and flour to make this almost like an oobleck. You put a little bit of food coloring in it, and I can send the lesson plans, but it allows them to start to engage in science by using these different matters that have to come together and make a new substance. But then if they were to taste it, it's not toxic. I'm not saying they should eat the whole thing, but it's taste safe. So, and that's what we try to incorporate food into things, because if you utilize food as the product, they're able to taste it because that's what they're going to do. A lot of our babies want to taste things. So if you use food as a mechanism for learning, they're able to expand that learning. And that would be where I would say start. Try to use food and food activities as an exploration. Like instead of sand, you can use hot chocolate, the packets, so that they can taste it. Like if you want to make a sand, but like a bucket, a sensory bucket, use food items that represent some of these other items, like a beach. You can use bread, graham crackers and different things, so that they can engage and get the same experience, but that they're
I
safe.
love I love that idea because so I always teach about using sensory learning, especially as
Yes.
we keep. So now we are in the age of understanding that mental health factors are start at any age, right? Um, and
Yeah.
especially when we're thinking about our kids and our kids' ability to learn, some of them take a little
Right.
bit more hands-on or different approaches where you have to attack different senses, and that does that
Right.
just perfectly, right? You're
Yes.
you're tasting it, you're touching it, you may be smelling it, like everything, right? So definitely is going to heighten their ability to learn the foundational principles behind it as well. Thank you for sharing that. And Maynard,
Well,
your suggestion or recommendation for?
Yeah, and apologies, I got disconnected there for a quick second. Um, yes, I would say for me, so I have a little one here as well too. I have a little 9 month old, and I think for me, even that connection of the work that I already do, which is for all ages as well, has been fueled a lot more by having my baby girl. Because now I have that direct connection, right, and I have that inspiration and someone that I want to be able to share those fun STEM experiences with. But for me, I would say, first off, unique and interesting ways to be able to engage, especially that age group, 2, 3, 4 years old, is a lot of what Fallon mentioned, right? The importance is starting them early, and it's never too young to start introducing kids into science topics. One of the things that I highlight a lot in the presentations that I do, especially for our youth, is showcasing that there's science in everything. Because I kind of grew up thinking with the mindset that science was just in the classroom, and that once we left, the science talk, science discussions ended. You might hear her now screaming in the background as I'm talking about her. I'll bring her on camera so she can enjoy this moment as I'm talking about
I'm
Yay!
all for it, all for it.
There we
Mine's
go.
come in. Look at her.
There we
She's gonna
go.
steal this show, Maynard. You probably shouldn't have
I
done this.
know.
There we go. Say hi, Journey. We're talking about
Oh
love
my
and
Hi,
science
goodness.
too.
Journey.
Crocodile cry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
hi.
So there's Journey. So
Adorable.
yeah, so I always kind of like to showcase that there's science in everything, right? And we talk about, the growing up, I always thought, yeah, you go to school, you learn these science topics, and then as soon as you leave the classroom, the learning is over, right?
Mm,
And as you get older, you start to understand that science influences everything around you. And
Mm.
so that's one of the really
Oof.
important topics that I like to highlight for students, is that there's science in literally everything that you do, whether it's in the music that you listen to, the movies that you watch, the things around your house. Everything that you do has an element of science in it. And so that's an easy one that especially parents and educators at home can do with their children, is the day-to-day things that you're utilizing, the day-to-day experiences that you have. Share the science behind it, share the reasoning, share how it works, because there's a scientific reason to why everything works. Could be your fridge, it could be your freezer, it could be your microwave, it could be the foods that they're eating and how their body's processing foods. There's so many cool learning lessons that you can experience and that you can share with your kids and with your students to be able to showcase the scientific elements of it. As kind of a nature nerd, as I talked about earlier, I love exploring. I love going on nature walks and hikes and doing wildlife explorations. one of my favorite hobbies is building terrariums. And you can see I have a little terrarium that I have back here as well too. And I've really found that that's also a cool way to be able to introduce kids into learning topics as well too, doing a lot of DIY things, right, where you can get them exploring. During the pandemic, I had this series that I started doing on my YouTube channel. It was a backyard science. And, since obviously we couldn't go places and couldn't explore, I wanted to showcase all the cool things that you can find right in your own backyard. And so I started doing everything from cool insects and showcasing that you can find crustaceans in your backyard, and you don't have to be at the ocean to do it. You can find them in pill bugs that live in the dirt, showcasing gastropods and frogs and all sorts of different things that you can find, and how freshwater works and how water in general works and the water cycle, all these different things that you can do hands-on experiments right in your own backyard and learn exactly all the scientific connections to them. And so we always kind of think that sometimes we have to either go to a museum, we have to be in a lab to be able to share these science topics. And there's so much that we can learn just from being in our own spaces and showcasing how things work to our little ones. And so that's one of the things I'm really invested and excited to, one, do with the journey. But I think that's a great opportunity for parents to be able to think creatively and not have to do the most, right? Not have to stretch themselves too thin. One of the things I appreciate, just kind of looking through your site here, Fallon, as well too, is introducing students to green spaces, right? And you think about especially people that are in the city and city dwellers, and they grow up with concrete jungles around them. They don't see trees, they don't see nature. To be able to now have access to green spaces and to be able to get them hands-on in gardening and learning how plants grow and all these different things, that's such an immersive experience for, especially for someone that's not around green spaces a lot, to be able to have that locally for them to explore. And so being able to find those places where they can be able to get immersed in nature, that's an absolutely easy one. And so those are really great creative ways to be able to introduce science topics, get your students getting hands-on. And then also too, I think it's fun for parents and educators to kind of rethink things that we kind of thought were kind of basic. We kind of rediscover these new things as well too, and I think that makes it fun for all families as well too.
And I think the biggest thing out of all of this, out of both the options that both of you have covered, a lot of times we wait around for the resources or we wait around for the funding, but you're essentially saying it's in your backyard. It is in the green spaces that surround us, and whatever else is literally in the air, right? Like you could talk about the atmosphere in so many different ways, still related to theme. So, why wait? Why just wait for the funding? Why just wait for the resources, the people to come in, when you could be utilizing what you already have access to? So when we think about accessibility, it's already there. We just have to be more creative and go outside of the box to actually access it the way you should. So I definitely thank both of you for highlighting all of those things. And so many levels, it's beneficial to all of our communities. So I let Kat close it out.
Okay, well, thank you guys. I just want to say, yes, my little toddler, I already do all that. Cooking is our number one thing that we like to do, so he, I let him scramble the eggs, but I tell him we're doing chemistry. We adding a catalyst, a heat to this matter, and it's changing from one form to another. And he's just saying chemistry. I don't know if he understands what I'm saying, but I feed it into him with pretty much everything we do.
Love it.
And and I, as a nature nerd, the only reason we don't really go on hikes is because we got hills, and my child likes to look backwards while he's running, and I don't want him falling off the side. I got to get look forward before we go on this big hike. I'm not trying to lose you in the forest.
Please look forward.
Yes, please. So
safety is key.
Safety first.
Yes. So now I'm going to do my own plug and share my website. Right? So this is my website. It's my name, katbobino.com, where you can see some of the stuff that I've done. The biggest thing I'm working on right now is the books that I wrote for my son. His name is Carter. I have a children's book series that's in the pre-order stage right now that I just got. They're being sent to me in a few weeks. But Carter could be an astrophysicist, a marine biologist, an animal biologist, and a seismologist. And then in the animal biologist, we talk about marine and we talk about the RV Nautilus and some other ones. So it is all there, as well as I want to also show that I have a new group on Facebook for parents and educators called Melanin Minds in STEM, where we talk about
Oh,
things that you can do together, hands-on stuff that you could do, like this one where I did Skittles with my son and his cousins. And so make sure you guys check out Melanin Minds in STEM on Facebook. And yeah, that's it. I had to do my shameless plug. What
yes.
about you? Hey, Doctor, you need to do a
Nope.
shameless plug.
This is not for me today. This is not for me today. I'll come back on the next session. I think
I need those
yes,
books. I need those
that's
books,
what I was gonna
Kat,
say.
Yes,
to
How can we
integrate
get the book?
from my curriculum. I need those books.
Yep, here they go. I got my samples in the mail, and I think I cried a little bit. But they're
Oh
on
my
my
God.
website, catbobino.com. You can pre-order them. They should be coming here in the end of September. Then they'll ship out to everyone who's already pre-ordered.
Awesome.
Wow.
Fun fact that I haven't shared on social media yet, but tomorrow I'm going to be dropping off some copies of Carter could be an astrophysicist to Chabot Space and Science Museum out here in
Yes.
Oakland, California. So they're
Yeah.
going to be in the gift shop,
Clap.
and that's the
Yes,
Clap.
Black
I
authors.
got other museums waiting. So I'm like, just tell me which ones you want. I'll send you.
Newark, you got to come to Newark.
Yes.
Okay, I'm always down to go
Yeah.
somewhere. But
Yeah.
let me say thank you too for joining us this evening. Maynard, you're on the West Coast, so I don't feel so bad for you. But Fallon, you're on the East Coast,
West Coast is
and
the
hey,
best
Dr.
coast.
J. Yeah.
All right, all
Yes,
right,
it
all
is.
right.
I do love
All
the
right.
No,
West Coast.
Fallon, what
I love it.
happened here? What just happened?
It's not the best. I didn't say it's better than New Jersey, but I did say it is good. I do love
I
the
love the
West
West
Coast,
Coast.
but I am Jersey
I
all day.
specifically love a few places on the West Coast. All right. All right. Let's
Right.
move on from this
Go ahead,
topic and
David.
I'll close it out, Kat, because I don't know where you just brought us.
Mhm.
Okay. I just say Alon said plug away because she's a big supporter,
Yes.
and those are her kids that's in the video. So thank you, Alon, for
Oh.
sharing your kids with me. But yes, hey, Dr. Tay, go on and close us out.
Thank you. So first of all, I just want to say I am honored to be constantly surrounded by people that are doing amazing things. It not only feeds into your community, but it also helps me and it motivates me to continue to be a creator, a creative, an educator, a STEM leader in a lot of different ways and senses. And I know Kat can definitely agree. I thank you both for being on this podcast and sharing these programs and advocacies and science communication opportunities that you have. I know you also have like newsletters and stuff. I'm on almost everything, and I literally I watch both of you on social media. So it's great that I'm able to share you to the world, to those who don't know you already. Because if I'm looking at you, I know there's plenty of others that need to definitely take advantage of this resource and this opportunity. And Kat, I would be remiss if I don't say that, having so many different avenues that you're creating as well, right? You'll not only have this platform to uplift others like Maynard and Fallon and the programs that they have, but you're making books. You're not even stopping. You're not taking a break, and you're a mother at the same time, right? And I definitely give you kudos and take my hat off to, anyone that has kids on top of doing these, because you don't have to do. A lot of times this is work that we are doing for free, and
Yes.
we say that it's service, and that, with so much success that we have now, this is our responsibility. There's plenty of people that have the same responsibility that said no because they're not getting paid for it. So I thank all of you for continuing to motivate me to stay in this space, even at times where I'm probably not getting the pay that is due for the work and the service
Mm.
that I am trying to do for the community. And if there's anything that I can help you all with, if to put you onto a network and even just uplift and advertise you even further, let us know. But to anybody that is listening to the video now while it's live or even later on, take advantage of these resources, these opportunities, because our kids need it. Even our adults need it. Our parents need it. So please take heed to the words here that are on this interview. And thank you so much for being here. We will see you again in the future, and have a great night.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate you
Thank
both
you
for
so
having
much.
Thank
us.
you.
No
Of
problem.
course.
Appreciate all of you. Appreciate all of you. Keep doing the work and we'll keep connected.